Hi, my name's Remi Rana-Allen. I'm a part-time practice-based PhD candidate at Chelsea College of Arts. My research is about the construction of the British Indian identity and the role of the mother as influencer. I question my Indian heritage through British eyes. This is informed by the context of my personal life experiences as a British Indian woman who has an Indian body, biology, a Western mind, construct, constantly reminded that I'm not white, ideology. I examine the stereotyping of brown women with long dark hair perceived as the evil other of the good white Western self. I intersect race, gender and sex, bringing visibility to the autonomous brown female. The two pieces I have exhibited for Discursivity I and II are 1947 and a film I made called Coon. So Coon was the piece that kicked off my practice and research. It's a 5-minute film. This film was created with found Super 8 footage from my grandmother's attic. She passed away in February 2010. I travelled to India with my husband and sons in December 2010. On our return, I enrolled on a fine art MA. I collated the footage and using layering together with MRI scans, photographs and sound from a remembrance ceremony, the film narrates the diasporic story of 5 generations of my Sikh family. The other piece that I've exhibited is 1947. A silk digital print, 3 metres by 1 metre, a monolith commemorating Indian women, their histories, their religion and their aspirations. The piece was intended to unite these women. It had to state their self-governance and lastly commemorate their victorious survival in the face of white and brown male dominance. My practice involves creating site-specific installations or large-scale sculptures and installations using found materials and morphing them with anything that I find. Having materials sent over from Delhi to the UK, which are specifically selected for a sculpture or installation, and then using materials that I find on site if it is going to be a site-specific installation, or materials that I find are valid for the next piece of work that I want to create. My paternal family still lives out in India, so I will WhatsApp a message to my aunt and send her some pictures for reference, and then she'll go down to a local market, get the materials and send them over. So in the past I've used bindis, which are the red dot Indian women wear, denoting marriage, third eye chakra, and celebration. Yeah, the Indian hair extensions are quite an important aspect to my work because they denote really the black hair and the dark-skinned woman. The Indian hair extensions, like I said, are made of a woolen type fibre. They have gold and red or pink or blue, black threads hanging down. Killer Queen was actually my Indo-European interpretation of Medusa. So the hair extensions were wrapped around wire and they created the snakes that represented Medusa's hair. I'm in quite a strange situation with my PhD because I created a lot of the artworks initially before the thesis kicked in. So I've got 6 pieces that are part of the research and will be forming the thesis and the writing aspect. As I'm completing the thesis now, I write retrospectively, so what I was making at the time, how it related to my research question and what was going on in my head and why I was making it. So the installation process is really an important aspect of the completion of the making of the works as well, because I have this idea in my head as to how it's going to look when it's complete, but because some of the installations are quite large scale, until I found the right space to be able to exhibit, I never know if the installation is going to be how I perceived it to be. What have I learnt through the PhD process? In the time that I've been doing my research and my practice, I've made connections through my research with other British South Asian diasporic artists. Making the artworks for the research has allowed me to then exhibit and enter the artworks for awards, which has been great this year. And I've also had, by the end of this year, we'll have had 11 group shows that I've exhibited in because of the artworks. that not only crossed the line for research and theory, but also personally for me to be able to exhibit and expand my career. Killer Queen was shortlisted for the Whitworth Art Fund New Collecting Award, and the Golden Temple, another piece that I created specifically as part of the research degree, was also shortlisted for the Genome Fine Art Textiles Award. That's currently on the road at the moment. It was exhibited as part of the Festival of Quilts in Birmingham at the NEC in August, and then recently at Alexandra Palace, and it's going up to Harrogate as well. I think the PhD focuses the mind and on your practice, so you very much know the directions you start to take because you've got that research element behind you. So in terms of what I create, I think is a lot more focused than it used to be before I started interrogating my practice through the research degree. And yeah, the work gets attention because the whole British brown woman identity is being very much interrogated at the moment, and being brown, not under the umbrella of black anymore as an identity, is starting to come to the forefront and taking its own, political and societal stance, I think. My research degree seems to be quite timely in terms of what's happening in society and what happened last year with Black Lives Matter, and also the forefront of being brown in this current climate. Part of that allowed me to form my own interest group, which is BLAME, Brown Leaders and Makers Exist. That was going to be doing quite well last year before the pandemic hit. There were plans to visit Shyla Berman's studio tour, and also have invited speakers, guests, activists, artists, architects, writers, to come and speak to students across UAL under the heading of Brown Leaders and Makers Exist.